Before we dive in, I just have to say our skin has never been happier. Big thanks to our sponsor, Mil Usos Skincare.
Seriously, we are not exaggerating. Between sweat, mats, travel, our skin takes a beating, and Mil Usos keeps us looking less like a troll and more like a glowing goddess. We love it.
Their stuff is made for people who train. There's natural ingredients. There's no junk. It actually works, and we'll put a link in the show notes so you can check them out.
You've primarily been talking to Jen, so this is Mallory. You would have seen my face had you answered your FaceTime call on time.
Man. I'm a terrible human being.
He's out there exposing fraud, Mallory. He doesn't have time for your bullshit.
So there I was, exposing fraud, getting heckled.
You're doing the Lord's work.
I'm doing
He
something.
really is. He really is. If that was a thing, it's happening. Wow.
Well, we're like super excited to chat with you. What have you been up to today?
Well, I just moved to LA. So I moved in literally 2 days ago. So yesterday was my first full day in LA. So I went up to Eddie Bravo's at HQ, got to see him. And then Jiu-Jitsu Magazine was up there doing something with him. So I'll be doing their show Saturday.
Hey.
And then today I'm just kind of arranging this nightmare that I call a room at the moment. and then tomorrow I'm going to Fight Circus in Vegas.
Amazing.
Oh, wow. That's rad.
Yeah. I'm hoping they'll put me on a card. I'd love to have a match in Fight Circus.
How do we pull those strings? Who do we talk to for that?
I know, right? Let's. I'm going to talk to the owner. So
There you go.
John.
That would be sick.
That would be rad. Well,
I just want to do a fun match. As I get older in my career, I just want to do things that are fun. And I have to deal with a lot of bullshit in my day-to-day job because I'm calling out fakes, frauds, phonies, conmen, pedophiles, sex offenders, and cults in the martial arts industry. Mm-hmm. And that's not the most fun.
No.
But what is fun is going to travel to places and learning about cool new matches. And I just got back from London a month ago. I did the Toe Wrestling Championships.
What?
Which is exactly what it sounds like.
Oh my God. Feet people are all in.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll make me some money. I don't care who looks at my feet as long as they pay.
Right?
No, I'm telling you, there's a market for Jiu-Jitsu feet OnlyFans page.
Yeah.
I'm all in. OnlyFans contacted me a year ago out of the blue.
Shut up.
So strange. Yeah, a representative had contacted me, and apparently they bring in if you have a following, they have a scout that will reach out to you and be like, hey, would you like to join OnlyFans? And I'm like, for money. And then I was like, maybe that probably wouldn't be great with what I do for a living. Probably wouldn't align with the chakras. So I was like, maybe not. And so, but it was kind of weird. They just contacted me out of the blue.
That is wild. Wait, what if you could have done an OnlyFans that called out other OnlyFans pages on their bullshit?
I mean, they'll be like, yeah, that's not that dude's real junk. Get out of here. Or those are CGI feet. That's AI feet. Everybody knows real feet when they see them.
Yo, so honestly though, when you got that message where you wow, I've made it. OnlyFans has reached out to me.
There's a few moments in your career that you'd be like, yeah, this is it. And that's one. My first lawsuit was another. And then my first death threat. And I think I now have the trifecta.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is it a credible death threat?
Yeah, I've had a few credible death threats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I carry a bulletproof vest on my backpack. So anytime you see me out and about and I have a backpack with me, it's because I have a vest in there.
Holy shit. Dude,
there's a lot of bad people out there. Damn. What a way to have to live.
Cults are weird because it's rarely the cult leader that will step out of line. I mean, every once in a while. Those are fun because I have a couple promoter buddies and I'm like, oh, you want to go Marcus of Queensberry rules, do you? Old fisticuffs. All right, well, fine, motherfucker. Here's a promoter. Let's do it. And then they'll be like, oh, never mind. It's oh, don't be a bitch. You wanted to fight me. Here's a promoter. Let's do it. Let's get paid, son.
Make some money.
Yeah, but apparently they don't want to catch an ass whooping for money.
Sign me up. I like money.
I'll take an ass whooping for money.
Exactly. Who doesn't? Like, even if I lose, I'll wipe my tears with $100 bills. Oh, it's so sad. I lost.
I love it.
Wait, Rob, can I fight you for money?
Shit, let's go. If you're
Let's fucking
valuable
do
enough
it.
to fight for, like, let's fucking throw hands.
I mean,
son.
I don't have any money to bring to the table.
Well, that makes you and me both.
Right?
That's why I'm trying to fight. Trying to get paid. There's not a lot of money in calling out rapists for some reason. You'd think there'd be more, but there's
that's
not.
crazy.
That was my original plan for a podcast.
Yeah.
Only crime podcast. And Mallory's
It's a solid
like,
idea.
people won't like you.
Yeah. I feel like we have like so much to dive into. So
Yes.
before we go any further, I want to welcome you to Chokehold and Chill.
Oh, wow. We just had what they call in the business.
If we haven't
just
figured it
called
out by now, we are talking to the one and only Rob from McDojo Life.
Yes, sir.
You've dedicated many years of your life keeping martial arts legit, and we appreciate you for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, we literally just had a cold opening. That was sweet. I dig that.
I love that too. But now it's official. Here you are.
Yeah.
OnlyFans and Chokehold and Chill. You've made it.
You have made
Yeah,
it.
man. We got a lot in before even the intro. That's awesome.
You got all the way down to the toes.
Yeah. So let's start with the origin. So what was the first, how did McDojo start?
It started off a conversation. So I've been in the martial arts industry since I was 12. So 28 years now. I actually started on my birthday. It was a birthday gift. So every year I celebrate a new year of age and also a new year in the industry. So I'm really happy.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love that. And plus my memory is dog shit. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't remember. So that's handy. But yeah, so I at the time was a striking coach and a program director and a kids jiu-jitsu coach at the facility I was training at. And my instructor at the time called. Actually, I'm not at the time. He's still my instructor today. He's awesome. But he called me and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm not feeling very well. Will you teach this noon class?" Which is funny because I've never seen him sick ever before then or since then. So it must have been fate, I guess. So he asked me to cover that class. So I did. I taught some basic shit like triangle and arm bar from guard and the transition between the two. And then we sparred. But it was a noon class. So the majority of people there, they either went right back to work or they had nothing to do for the day. So we just kind of stood around shooting the shit. And we got on the subject of McDojos, which is a term that's been around since the dawn of martial arts. It's older than when I started. And we got on that topic and then everyone left except for one guy. And the one guy was a brand new student. It was his first official class as a member. And he stayed to the side and he was like, "Hey, man, real fast, I'm a little embarrassed. You guys were talking about McDojos. I don't know what that is. Could you explain it to me?" And so I explained it to him the best I understood it at the time, which has drastically changed over the years now, but my best idea of what it was then. And he asked me the most simple white belt question ever, and it stuck with me. He said, "Why doesn't anybody do anything about that?" And I was like, that is a solid question. So I looked into it that night because I couldn't get it out of my head. So I looked online, and the only thing I could really find was Bullshido forums. And Bullshido forums, old school, internet forum, where people just talked about bullshit martial arts, but they didn't provide a solution. And I noticed by looking through all these forums, it was mostly just people bitching and moaning about things that didn't actually hold weight. So it'd be like, this guy got his black belt in 2 years. I'd be like, well, who gives a shit? BJ Penn got his black belt in 3. So why is his of value and this other person isn't? Just because they did an art they didn't do. Or they would be like, "Oh, that costs too much." I'm like, that's subjective. Cost is based off of what the consumer is willing to pay and what the product or service holds value as. It has nothing to do with your affordability. There's a reason certain people drive Hondas and certain people drive Ferraris. Right? It's
Absolutely.
not that Ferrari is too expensive. It's just that's what they value themselves as. And other people still hold them to that value. That's why they're still in business. So what is the real problem? So that day, after looking through all this shit, I had an epiphany that we have a real issue in our industry, a lot of issues. And throughout that next month or so, I came up with the 5 rules of McDojo Life based off of factual things, not semantical argument bullshit. And just started. And then I thought it was just going to be a hobby. And then I got very fortunate one day that Rogan started talking about it on his podcast, and then it just kind of became my career.
What a wild way to start a career.
Right. And the whole thing is that it like comes to fruition with Joe Rogan at the end of it, like bringing it to light.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I was, I had already been doing McDojo Life at that time for a few years. I think maybe 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
And I had a little bit of a following. I was getting close to 100,000 subscribers on Facebook. That Facebook has since been taken down. I had to start a new one from scratch. That blew ass. But then, I was still teaching martial arts full time because that's really been my only true job over the years. And then I was next door to the facility I was teaching at, and we were getting ready for summer camp. And I was painting the place next door, getting it ready for summer camp. And my phone just started like vibrating uncontrollably. And so I'm painting. So I just reached into my pocket and just shut my phone off, not thinking anything of it, because I was like, well, somebody's trying to call me or bug me. I just can't right now.
Yeah.
So when I left, I hadn't turned my phone back on. I went back next door to wash up and get ready to teach the kids class. And a parent walked in and goes, hey, congratulations. And I was like, for what? He goes, well, Rogan talked about you for like 15 minutes on his show.
Oh, my God.
I was like, get the fuck out of here. So I turn on my phone and it's just messages after messages. Within that short period of time, I had an extra 10,000 subscribers in the blink of an eye.
Holy shit.
And then within the next day, I had 50,000 new subscribers.
Wow.
And it was just like, it snowballed at that point. And it was just like a life-changing moment.
Oh, my gosh.
It's crazy how like these like small things impact your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Like, you think about how you got in front of Joe Rogan and how he came to share your shit, and then you've just blown up even more. I want to go back and listen to that podcast that he talked about you on.
Yeah, there's been a few. Like that
initial one that made you blow up.
Yeah, that's crazy. We when we made our trailer for the documentary we've been working on about martial arts cults, I've been working on that for close to 5 years now. And when we first made the trailer, that opening scene of him first talking about it is in the trailer.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's going to be great. How far are you in that process? How's the documentary coming along?
So we were able to, it's a long, long process. I don't know how much time we have, but I'll do the cliff notes. But,
Yeah.
So basically, we started with crowdfunding. Originally, I wanted Master Ken to be the director.
Oh, that would have been funny.
That would be
what most people, I thought that would be perfect, right? And I think he would get the tongue-in-cheek, but also he's a legitimate actor. He went to school for film. He's been in multiple real, legit movies.
Wonderful.
And so I was like, that guy's perfect. And then I didn't know, but at the time, he was working on his own movie. I think it's called Cop and Bad Guy. And he put out his own film, but he was working on that. And so I was like, well, who else can I get? And there's a guy named Jesse. He runs a thing called Mexican Martial Arts. And I had worked with them before, and their quality and their production was so good. And they're legit production studio. So I was like, well, let me reach out to them. They said yes. We raised $20,000 in crowdfunding, which was a far cry from the $200,000 that we wanted. And that was mostly because of like two factors. One, there was a guy, I guess he was trying to make a jiu-jitsu documentary like years ago, like right before we were crowdfunding. And he took everybody's money and ran. People who had donated to his crowdfunding thing were very jaded. And they were like, oh, this is just like that. I'm like, I don't even fucking know that guy.
Right.
I was like, that guy sounds like a dick. Like, I'm not going to do that. But, it's people online. And then the other problem is that somebody got wind, because we had a lot of celebrities shouting it out for crowdfunding, which I appreciate. And somebody got wind that we were doing this documentary, and they piggybacked off of it. And they put a, quote, documentary about fake martial arts on YouTube, which isn't. It was just a bunch of my clips with a shitty voiceover. And then it had my logo and half the shit.
Wow.
But when they did that, it got like 7 million views.
Wow.
And so I was like, you cocksucker. That is the biggest horseshit, because basically what they did was piggyback off of us, and then people started dropping that link anytime we talked about crowdfunding. They were like, why do we need to pay you? Here's a documentary. I'm like, that's a fucking YouTube video.
Yeah, it's just a video.
So I was like, that's not what we're trying to do here. So in any case, that wound up stifling. But with the 20K, we were like, well, we have enough to film what's called a sizzle reel, which is like a an idea of what the movie could look like that's put in the form of a trailer.
Okay.
So we filmed for 30 days straight. I lived in the basement of a fucking Chinese food restaurant, which is where the production studio was, in Fresno. I
my
lived there
God.
for 3 months. Yeah. So 3 months I lived in this basement shithole, which I call a show. I'm very appreciative of the guys at Voto Studios for allowing me to live there, but it was a basement room. Like, so while I lived there, we
And
filmed.
when was this?
This was now probably 3, maybe 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Because after we crowdfunded, we had 2 hiccups before filming. So crowdfunding initially, when I had from the idea to us actually launching crowdfunding or getting our perks ready, was about 3 months.
Mhm.
And then from that time, we were like, okay, this is how we want to do it. This is how we're going to lay out the business plan. And then we were like, well, Conor McGregor had a fight coming up, and the influencer we were working with had huge numbers on his live streams during fight events. So we're like, during a Conor McGregor fight, while he's doing his live stream, we're going to announce this crowdfunding. And it was a good time to launch, but that was going to be another 3 months. So 6 months before we initiated crowdfunding.
Wow.
Once we initiated crowdfunding, Indiegogo only allows you to crowdfund for 90 days. So that was another 3 months of crowdfunding. So we finally got our 20,000, and then we were going to be like, all right, well, let's go ahead and film. When is everybody available? Which, ironically enough, was another 3 months. So before we even could start filming, it was a year.
Wow.
I'm very transparent. Like, I'll talk to anybody about all the processes, but we had people after the first month going, why don't you just go with your fucking bicycle and film it with your phone? Because that would be a shitty movie, you idiot. That's why. Like, and it's like, you don't need money. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to eat or like live. You know, you're right. Like that. So anyway, fuck that guy and all those people who believe that. And so like, by that time, we were like, okay, well, let's go ahead and start filming at this time, this date. About a month before I'm supposed to drive out to California, COVID hit. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks. Nothing like an act of God to really stop you in your tracks.
Right.
So then we waited, and finally we got to the point, we heard 2 months to curb like the sickness, right? That's what we originally heard on the news. So we were like, oh, well, 2 months and it should curb and we're good. Well, that 2 months turned into 2 years.
Yeah.
And like people who often forget, like COVID was a long process. And so the restrictions lasted longer than the issues. Mm-hmm. So like the restrictions eased up. Finally, we were like, well, shit, or get off the pot. So that's when I filmed out there with them. A month of filming and 2 months of editing, which the only thing that was really close to there to eat was Taco Bell. So I like gained a shitload of weight. But how can Taco Bell just released their breakfast menu. What am I supposed to do? I was helpless.
You know what? It's fair though, because I don't eat fast food anymore. But if fucking Taco Bell comes up, it's always a yes.
It's so hard to. So anyway, I lost that weight back, thank God. But so I wind up leaving, and then we've been in the processes back and forth of getting it finished. So and then the production crew that I hired. No offense to Alex, because I think he's a wonderful human being, but he really had a hard time nailing the vibe and what we wanted for the trailer, for the feel. And so for about 6 months of us going back and forth, I was like, I made this movie and I think it would be dog shit. I wouldn't watch it based off the trailer. And so we finally reached out to a friend of mine. His name's Jonathan Sadowski, who is a producer and actor, and also an MMA enthusiast and a buddy. So he found a guy named Adam Wood. And Adam is a Emmy Award-winning editor.
Wow.
So he got a hold of it and made the current version of the trailer that we have, and it's amazing. And I was like, that movie I'd watch. And then so now we've been pitching different studios and production companies to try to get it across the finish line. We wind up getting Jocko Willink as an executive producer of our film. So Jocko, shout out to you.
Congratulations.
And then now we are talking to a company called Big Media. They came on board as a production company that is willing to help float the initial costs of like film, edit, coloration, sound, all that good stuff. So very fortunate to have them on board. And now they are out pitching it for us. And I have a meeting probably either today or tomorrow with our final financier. And then we would have raised our final production budget, which would have been $783,000. So
wow.
So finally we're getting across the finish line. And it's,
This is amazing.
it's funny. it's funny how people will be just complete assholes to you for no reason. So we'll have people who donate like $1, right? Which I appreciate. Thank you. Like, you didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
But we've been working on this for 5 years. You know how long that dollar lasted in the process of this?
Right.
You know, like my first Starbucks, it was gone. So like, but then, you know, once we started working on the process, again, people immediately would start talking shit. Like, you're never going to do this. You rip these people off. It's like, first of all, I'm openly, publicly talking about where our process is.
Right.
I literally just moved to LA so I could finish this thing. And people still talk shit. So like, once we get this finished, I cannot wait to put out a video of just my ass cheeks that says "kiss my ass" just to everybody. I'm gonna write it right on my cheeks.
We look
Kiss my
forward to
ass.
that.
We will share that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I've been doing my squats and everything.
Content is coming.
So, but like, yeah, it's just fucked up because people will talk shit to you just because to them it's fun, and they don't realize
Right.
like, during the process, like I've had a lot of personal shit too. Like, I got sued for 2 years because I called out a guy who's a registered sex offender.
Oh my God.
And his instructor tried to sue me for defamation, and I won. But I went through that for 2 years while still dragging this movie across the finish line, kicking and screaming, and moving across the country, and working on FightCon Expo, and making content about other rapists and frauds. You know, like it.
Yeah.
I work like 15 hours a day, so I love this job. And if I didn't, I wouldn't do this shit because there's way better paying jobs. Like
Yeah.
McDonald's.
So it's like a passion project / career for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Really?
I love martial arts. I love this industry so much. And it's a shame how many people who are even at the upper echelon of our industry that are considered respected, who are just pieces of shit human beings.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking rapists and convicts and like people who turn a blind eye to pedophiles in their own organizations. Like,
Totally unacceptable.
but yet we put them on pedestals. Like,
Right.
people so quickly forget that Cyborg paid a $50,000 severance pay to a pedophile. Like,
Yeah.
people like still look up to him. Yay. Like, yeah, that guy's great. No, he's a piece of shit who just happens to be good at jujitsu.
Exactly.
Two things to be true at the same time.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird how many people are willing to just accept it. And
Yeah.
you know, we see it in all aspects of sport. Like, you see it in MMA, you see it in golf, you see it in football, basketball. It doesn't matter that we as humans, for some reason, have been programmed to look a blind eye if someone just has a skill. Like, if they just are good at something, we're like, well, he raped them kids, but did you hear him sing? Like,
Right.
his singing so like, you know, he definitely
Disgusting.
did it, but his singing's so good. Like, yeah, y'all keep shelling over those dollars for that piece of crap. And it's sad because I think that's just how naturally society works. I think most people are willing to turn a blind eye to just about anything if your skill or celebrity outweighs whatever they consider the crime.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully what we can do is keep some integrity in the martial arts industry by saying, you know what, if you're a pedophile, you can go get a job at a bar that has no kids.
Right.
Go work at a strip club. Go work at a place that does not have any children whatsoever because you are a convicted rapist. You should not be in a position of authority over anyone. And yet our industry has enough of them to give me a full-time job for the last 13 years.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. So what is like the message that you are trying to get across in your documentary, like to especially to martial artists?
Well, it's a fine line because I don't want to shit on martial arts because I love martial arts. So I don't want to just show the bad. I want to show that martial arts is a very amazing thing that could change people's lives. And as cliche as it is, it changed mine.
100%.
You know, like when I started martial arts because I was born with a cleft lip and palate. So I have scars on my face and went through a lot of surgeries as a child. 19 years of speech therapy so you can hear this smooth voice you have now.
It is
But, like,
very smooth, might I add.
you're welcome. But yeah, so like after all that reconstructive surgery, speech therapy, getting picked on, getting teased, getting bullied, I was jumped in 8th grade by a group of kids.
Wow.
It was like 6 kids, and they jumped me outside of a middle school gym class. I still have a piece of like scarring on my finger because a kid tried to stab me in the face with a pencil during
Holy
this.
shit.
Oh my God.
And They beat me for 5 minutes straight from the time the bell rang to the time the next bell rang, which was 5 minutes. And then 2 teachers stood there and watched the entire thing, did absolutely nothing about it. And I remember the second bell rang and those kids just ran away. And then a friend of mine who's still one of my closest, dearest friends to this day after all these years, my glasses had broken and cut my face pretty bad. So I was looking through like blood. And then I remember seeing like a figure, because I can't see shit without my glasses. And it was like a hefty kind of fat dude. And he's walking towards me. And I was like, oh, that's my acquaintance at the time, Joey. And he walks over and he picks me up and he walks me to the nurse's office, not the fucking teachers, not another him. And it just happened to be that he was late coming to that next class. So he got there at the tail end. And as he picked me up and he walked me to the nurse's office, he hands me a card. We don't say a word, but he hands me a card and it's a free trial martial arts card. And he goes, you need this. And so I took it, put it in my pocket, and I asked my mom that night if I could do it. And my mom was always concerned that if I did any sport, I could get damage to my face, which would cause me to have more surgeries. So, but when I asked her if I could do that, she said, maybe. The next month was my birthday. I come home from school. I come home to a cake, a card, and a box. And the card had some money in it. Happy birthday, that good stuff. And then I opened up the box and there was just a piece of paper in there. And as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I going to do with a piece of paper? And she goes, read it. And I read it, and she had paid in full for an entire year of martial arts. And my first official class was on my birthday. So I went, and my uniform was already waiting on me. And I took my first class on my birthday, fell in love with it. And, I never got into another fight in school, which I was getting into fights all the time. I wouldn't say my grades got better, but I would say like how I carried myself was different. And it did take me down a path of being able to do this now. So it did change my life.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
I think martial arts can do that for people. But on the other hand, the same reason I have my logo the way my logo is, it is flawed. And we can't sit here and pretend that everything is good and hunky-dory when it's not. Martial arts as a whole is 100% unregulated.
Yes.
Now, martial arts sports are. Like boxing, there's regulatory bodies. Wrestling, there's regulatory bodies. Jiu-jitsu, the IBJJF or ADCC, right? You might have some regulatory bodies. But as a whole, anyone in the United States can open up a martial arts school. You don't need background checks. You don't need CPR. You don't need safe sport. You don't even need a business license or insurance.
Yeah.
You can just say, I'm a martial arts instructor, and that's good enough. In an industry where you're guaranteed that people will get hurt, you're teaching people how to harm people, there's already a hierarchy in place. It's right with cults. It's right with pedophiles and convicted sex offenders who are on registries, but don't necessarily have to divulge that information.
Right.
So because of that, I think that's important for the public to know. And the ultimate goal for me is to get the dynamic to switch from the random person coming in off the street to try it for the first time. I want their first question to not be, how much does it cost? Which in our industry is the industry standard.
Yes.
I want the first question to be, are you guys background checked? And I think that if I can do that, just that, we can make a shift for the better in our industry. That's all I want.
I would agree 100%. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, we did a full episode earlier this year about, there was a local gym owner who had like a school program that like he was having high school students come and do their schoolwork at his gym, and then they would train for their sports. And he was a convicted rapist.
Yeah.
And like I actually went and trained with this man. I had no idea of his background because, unfortunately, there's just like an assumption like, oh, hey, this guy's working with,
Kids.
a bunch of kids and like teenage athletes and stuff. Like, you don't anticipate that when, you're going to train with somebody. And like, now I know, I'm like, shit, I need to be more diligent about looking into like where I'm going and where I'm training. So it's sad that it is so easy for people, and not only the jiu-jitsu industry, but, so.
Yeah, I think that, if we all, like, I did a podcast not too long ago called the Downrange Podcast. And on that podcast, I talked very specifically, like I just did, about there being no regulatory bodies to the industry. And a clip of that hit the internet. And the amount of people, I mean, it was hundreds of people who were like, that's not true. Of course there's regulatory bodies. The amount of people arguing that to like tooth and nail fighting that when you can just simply look it up is amazing. So it lets me know that there's still a ton of work to do. And even people in the martial arts industry were arguing it. They were like, well, my school asked for a background check. I'm like, that's great, but it's not required. And that's the thing. I'm glad that those schools exist. That means that that person gives a shit. But the majority of schools in the United States don't do background checks. And as a matter of fact, they don't do them because they know that employees have background issues.
Right.
And don't get me wrong. If you committed a crime at 18, like let's say you got into a fist fight, you got an assault and battery charge at 18 years old, you had no other issues all the way to your 40s, right? To me, that means that you have on-the-job training. Right? You got into a fist fight. You're a martial arts instructor. Yeah, you've been there. Right? But that's not what I'm looking for. And I don't think that's what most people are looking for. I think most people are looking for things like fraud. So, like, if you've already financially defrauded people, what's stopping you from ripping off your students? Or people are looking for convicted sex offenders of any kind, whether it be an adult or a child. And you know, this last year, I'm very happy to say that this page has made an impact to remove and get some schools changed or to change their dynamic of how they operate because it did stories about them. And I don't win every battle, which sucks, but it is what it is. But I do win some. And when you're able to like have platforms like this where we can talk about people like, I don't know, Brian Antak of Brian Antak's Kempo Karate in Bakersfield, California, who hired a registered sex offender pedophile and allowed him to be there knowing that he did. And then he tries to sue me and then he loses the lawsuit. I think it's nice to have those platforms to talk about people, you know, specifically like Brian Antak of Brian Antak's Kempo Karate in Bakersfield, California. You know, so if you're ever in Bakersfield, California, just be aware that Brian Antak of Brian Antak's Kempo Karate in Bakersfield, he hired a rapist.
Do not train there.
Yeah. Brian Antak.
In Bakersfield, California. Wait, what's the name of the school again?
Brian Antak's Kempo Karate, Bakersfield, California. He's a piece of shit. But just in case, you know, examples like that.
Yeah. So what would you say? We talk a lot about like red flags and green flags when we're talking about different gyms and like people looking at gyms to go to. What would you say like your top 3 red flags and your top 3 green flags are when looking for a new gym?
We'll start with the green flags. I think that, this will be a red flag and a green flag. This will count for both, I guess.
Okay.
When you go for your free trial martial arts class or your paid trial, it doesn't matter to me. I think both have value, especially if you're trying to understand business and sales in the martial arts industry. But if you wind up going for your trial class and you should look around to see how everyone else is being treated. Don't pay attention to how they're treating you. They're going to treat you the best they'll ever treat you on day one. So you don't really need to pay attention to it because all the attention is on you anyway. So that's going to be coming in no matter if you're paying attention or not. If you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. But how they're treating everyone else in the class is more important because once you sign up, you're going to be them for a lot longer than you will be for your first only class that's free. So like I always tell people to pay attention to how the rest of the class is. If you walk into a martial arts studio and simply close your eyes, you'll know whether or not it's right for you because you can hear what it sounds like. If it's dead silent and no one's talking to each other, that's a red flag to me because that means that either the instructor has not created a community or environment that's conducive to having fun or enjoying yourself. And that means that to them, most likely the training is hardcore, which is fucking stupid because people aren't going to want to train at a place that sucks. No one watches season 4, episode 5 of a show that sucks ass in the pilot episode. No one's going to do that. No one. So like, if you're not having fun training, you shouldn't be there. Like, people so much put emphasis on, will this work on the street? Who gives a fuck? Like, give you an example, right? To go on a small tangent.
Do it.
We love tangents.
Go off.
Swimming and violence are just as equally important and just as equally useless. Right now, I'm in an office, and if I swim right now, I would look like a fucking idiot. Why? Because you don't swim on land. It's not important. 99% of my life is going to be not on the water.
Yeah.
So But swimming is useless 99% of my life until you throw me in the deep end. Then I damn sure better know how to do it or I'm going to drown and die.
Yeah.
Right? Violence. 99% of my life doesn't involve me getting into street fights. Why? Because I'm not a fucking moron and I'm not a person who picks fights with random people on the stranger and I have legs that walk away from things. So like, but if I did get into an altercation and I don't know how to defend myself, just like that deep end, I could be in the deep end of a fight and die. So like, I damn sure better know how to do it. So like, if I go to a school and the school is talking about the streets, like, how many street fights have you been in there, Mr. Instructor? Because if you've been in a lot, you're an asshole. And if you've been in a lot, you're probably going to go to jail or die. So, like, why is that so important to you? Because the only way to truly know if you're a good street fighter is to get in street fights. Well, the only way to get into street fights is be a cocksucker and be an asshole and try to fucking fight people in the street. So, like, are you a good person? Like, that matters to me. There are plenty of people in jail right now who can fist fight very well. No training. But they're from the streets. So, like, how important is that to me? What's really important to me is, did you instill a love in the martial arts? Did you make me fall in love with your facility and your training? Did you make me enjoy myself? Because the majority of my training is going to be here. The majority of my fights will be there. The majority of my injuries will be there. So do I feel safe? And do I feel like I have now a love instilled in me to want to train more? Because if I train more, I will be more effective in a real fight.
Right. Yeah.
But if I don't show up because I hate it there, I will be less effective. And I think coaches miss that mark so much. They forget that being likable is a part of your job. And so I think that's a huge red flag and green flag. You know, if you go to a school, you enjoy yourself, you're having a blast, the instructor gives you a love for it, and you're like, man, I can't wait to train tomorrow. You know what? I'm going to train twice tomorrow. That instructor's doing their job. And it's not just because they taught you good technique. It's because they made you give a shit.
Yes.
So that's a huge red flag or green flag, depending on which end of the spectrum they're on. So, you know, and I think the last thing is just going to be background checks. Like, did you get background check? Because if you don't have them, that's a huge red flag for me. And I think anybody who's in the martial arts industry, if you walk into a facility, they tell you they don't do background checks. I don't give a fuck how good they are. Walk out. Because the odds now are greatly increased in an industry that has no regulatory body that you might encounter something that's going to change your life for the worse. So those would be my three. Make sure that they're treating you correctly on your first day, but also treating everybody else correctly. Make sure that they're instilling a love in the martial arts industry, and make sure they're background checked.
Perfect. So other than being like having background checks, how do you think gym owners can better protect their students, like especially women and minors, from like kind of abuse and misconduct?
Well, at Gracie Academy, at least the headquarters I know of, they actually will take every student and they'll run them through a sex offender registry database.
Wow.
I love it.
That's great.
It takes
love
2
it.
seconds to do. It takes 2 seconds. Like, because those registries are already there. You don't need to do anything or pay for anything. You're not doing a legit full background check.
Right.
So you're only looking truly for like registered sex offenders. And by doing that, I mean, that's such a subtle thing to do. It's so easy to do when you're onboarding them into your CRM system.
Yes.
I mean, it's easy to do. And so I think that should be an industry standard.
Yeah, I think that's key. That's great. I want to do that.
Yeah, we should.
I want to.
Everybody should be doing that.
I'm always like, I asked somebody about a student one time. I was giving my sister's phone number out. She's a real estate agent, and I was giving her cell phone out to like a drop-in. And we had a mutual friend, and I asked the guy, I was like, hey, is this guy like safe? I'm going to give him my sister's phone number for work. And he's like, what do you like background check everybody? And I was just like, yeah.
Well, like, you know, it's such an odd thing. And people talk about like nowadays things are worse than they've ever been. I don't agree. I think nowadays everything is just better documented.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
you know, there have always been people to get away with really evil shit.
Yes.
And I think now it's just harder to get away with that. And I think that, you know, if you need to get your hair cut, right, to become an actual person who works in a salon to cut hair, you have to have a license.
Yes.
You have to have a license to cut hair, but you don't need a license when you're literally paying me to punch you in the face. I don't need a license for that. I could choke you unconscious, and I didn't need a license for that. Your life is in my hands every time you take one of my classes if I choose it to be so.
Yeah.
But yet I don't need anything. I don't even need to know martial arts. The amount of people who start gyms who have never actually trained and they start their own shit is mind blowing to me.
Oh
And it's
my
like,
God.
I'm like, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing. Like, then everybody's like just hanging on every word because the guy quotes Roadhouse well. It's strange.
That's so sad.
Oh, wow. So it's like interesting to me. So I didn't start training. I didn't start training until I was 30. So this was not a part of my like childhood or growing up at all. And clearly, you said your 13th birthday was your first class.
My 12th. Yeah.
Your
My
12th birthday. Yeah. So how much like progress have you seen over the past however many years? We won't ask you how old you are, but over the last however many years, what changes have you seen in like gym culture and safety?
Like dojo storms used to be more relevant back in the day.
Yeah.
When I first started, a dojo storm was a very common thing that would happen from time to time. So I think since then, it's kind of calmed down a little bit. Cross training has been opened up a lot more recently. Like in the last decade, you see a lot more people because a lot more people were speaking out against it. They were like, "What do you mean I can't cross train? Like I'm a
Right.
grown man. I'm literally paying you for a service. You don't get to control me outside of this building." That'd be like if I go to Walmart and I'm like, "Hey man, I went to Publix," and they were like, "Oh my god, you son of a bitch!
Get the
Like you're
fuck
never
out
allowed back in here
now."
again." Like that's just stupid. Like you think any other service gives a shit? No, they're just happy that you came back to give them business again.
Mhm.
And I think I do think because of things like Eddie Bravo coming forward with a unique system that's modern, a unique system that advances the industry, that's creative, but also one that's a lot more laid back and not as steeped in traditionalism. Is amazing. Like I was at his headquarters yesterday, and he has a lineage. He has photos of his lineage on the wall. So he gives respect and nod to the ones who came before him, which literally is what the word sensei means. It translates to the one who came before. It doesn't mean the one who was better. It doesn't mean teacher. It doesn't mean shit other than the one who came before. So, I think that instructors who are buying into the sensei thing too much, I don't think they understand what it means. And those are typically the ones that wind up taking advantage of students.
Yeah.
You see a lot less of that. And I love to see that the industry is evolving. And some people call it watered down. It's not. Like, take Gordon Ryan, for instance, and you drop him back in 80cc 20 years ago. You telling me he's not going to fucking wreck house?
Right.
Like, it's not even going to be close. You think Hoist Gracie in his prime versus Gordon Ryan in his prime, Hoist is going to have an advantage? No, because he wasn't even crushing out leg locks back then. The game has evolved.
Yes.
Now, because there are more people in the industry, that means that there'll be more people who are not as good. That doesn't mean that it's watered down. That's just how statistics work. I think that there's an evolution going on, and I really believe that right now we're in a renaissance for martial arts. Since 1993, the evolution of almost every martial art has gone leaps and bounds above what it used to be.
Yeah.
From Taekwondo, karate. I mean, Michael Venom Page, who's a sport karate guy, crushed Cyborg's face in, with a flying knee. That's a point fighter.
Yeah.
So clearly there's an evolution there. Taekwondo, if you look at movies like Tron, not the newest one, but the one before that, none of those guys are on strings and wires.
Right.
That's all the acrobatic kicking in that movie are legitimate martial artists who have made the evolution. And of course, now we see even film. We see John Wick, and you can watch John Wick and go, "Oh, I learned that on Tuesday."
Right.
It's not made up bullshit. It's legit technique. So I think we're in a beautiful renaissance right now. And I think that's the true evolution. I think since 93, all martial arts and all martial artists have really been elevated. And it's very similar to being able to go I want to go learn from Rembrandt, but Rembrandt's alive and you can literally just go take his fucking seminar.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point too. We really live in a time that we have access to so much information, and not only old school stuff, but the up and coming kids too.
Which are super talented.
Yes.
Even the Rotolos, who I guess now are grown men, but
Right.
you got to see them as teenagers just dominate people. And you're
Yeah.
holy shit. That's terrifying. I don't want that little 15-year-old on my leg. You can rip that shit off.
And they're such nice kids too.
Yeah, their evolution's cool to watch, and like, I think that we'll probably fizzle out. Maybe in the next 20 years you'll see a plateau, but right now it's been like on a skyrocket.
Yeah.
Like martial art. I mean, Mo Jassim from ADCC was able to fill the T-Mobile Arena for just BJJ.
Isn't that
That's so cool.
I love that.
It's incredible. And then you have people who are questioning the paradigm. You have guys like Craig Jones who comes along and says, "Why are you doing this just for prestige? Let's get you paid."
Yeah.
These shifts are all a part of this renaissance that we're in. And I really think that looking back in another 30 years, people are going to be like, "Wow, I actually lived through that."
Yeah. I think so too. Even I've been training for 7 years now, so I feel like I've watched this like mini rise come up from it's barely on Instagram. Nobody's really posting a lot of content. Like Chewy was the only person I could really find repeatedly when I was like trying to learn how to shrimp or whatever,
Basic fundamentals.
Yeah. And now I've just watched like people make careers out of just educating others on how to correctly do this, and like you're doing, like calling shit out and be like, watch out for this. Like that was really helpful for me to know that like there's shady people out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think too, like over the years, like not just in jiu-jitsu, but like across all boards, I mean, I think that accountability has been better, but also cancel culture too. So I feel like there's a balance there for holding people accountable and then cancel culture completely. And I know that like probably in your position, right? You're calling people out all the time.
You ride the line.
You ride that line, right? Like I'm sure that you've caught flack for naming names, shouting people out, or being too harsh. So like how do you decide, how do you balance that like accountability, cancel culture, like when you post something, when you handle something privately?
Well, I think that everything is handled privately first. So what people don't see is like the amount of time and work and effort it takes for me to actually do the research into what I'm posting. So a lot of people are only familiar with the Instagram, which is just a clip. All right.
Yeah.
And if you ever look at those Instagram posts, I almost rarely say my opinion about the post. And I do that on purpose. I want a dialogue. And people will automatically assume why I post things. Like I posted a video of a guy in a wheelchair who's got it's like a Wing Chun mask, and he's knife fighting with another guy, right? It's obviously rubber training knives, right?
Right.
And I posted it because the guy who's in the wheelchair literally gets stabbed in the face with this knife in the video. It's completely unsafe training, which I have only 5 rules of the page that I always stick to. So like I posted and people are like, "Why are you making fun of the guy in the wheelchair?" I literally said nothing about him being in a wheelchair. I said none of that shit. But people assume because they just want to assume. They are looking for the bad guy. So like when you're talking about cancel culture, I think cancel culture is based off of opinion, right? I don't post based off my opinion. There's a reason that the only lawsuit I've ever been in the last 13 years of McDojo Life, I won. Because I don't post my opinion. I post facts. And then if I have an opinion based on those facts, I will talk about that. But like to just call someone out to call somebody out, you have to weigh why you're doing it. And the rules are what I stick to, which are very simple, right? I think that let me know if you don't agree with any of these rules. But rule number 1 is no sex offenders in the martial arts industry.
Love it.
Okay, so rule number 1, most people agree with. Rule number 2, don't lie about your belt rank or your fight record.
Absolutely.
Because those are the first things that you're going to have a conversation with your instructor, that you're going to ask their qualifications. And if they lie to you about that, I'm pretty sure they'll lie about anything else. And it's kind of our industry's equivalent of stolen valor, right? So rule number 3 is shady business practices, which is somebody's financially defrauding you or ripping you off.
Definitely.
Okay, so we agree that you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Do that. All right. Rule number 4 is mislabeling technique or cult-like behavior. Right. So like mislabeling technique is mislabeling technique or unsafe training practices. I apologize. So like if you are doing cardio kickboxing, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you want to do Aikido, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you want to do any martial art and you find it to benefit you in some way, it doesn't matter if it works for the street, if it's benefiting you personally.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if your instructor is teaching you cardio kickboxing on a bag, and they teach you just cardio kickboxing and a cardio kickboxing class and tell you you're going to be a world champion kickboxer, that's never going to happen. That's mislabeling. Or if somebody says, okay, you're going to do this disarm, this is going to work to disarm this gun. Well, maybe, but if it doesn't work and you tell people that it does, then you're mislabeling. You can get people harmed or killed.
Right.
So, and then of course, like what goes along with that is making sure that you're running a safe environment. So, like, are you purposely hurting your students in the name of saying they're going to get better? Like, we see it all the time, especially in the Middle East, where they'll line their students up and just punch them in the head. It's like to them, they're uneducated in what that really is doing, which is harming you.
Oh my God.
But they call it like conditioning. It's not. You can't condition your brain.
No.
So like you see that often, or like I posted a video of a very famous Muay Thai instructor back in the day, just literally just hitting his students with full on sticks when they were messing up. Like that doesn't make them better. That just makes them hit with a stick. Like that harms them. And then what happens if they have a laceration or they wind up losing an eye because you misaimed your beat stick, right? Or what happens if you break their hand? Are they going to be better at fighting? No, at least not while their hand's broken. You just made them worse. So like that kind of thing. And then finally is no touch knockouts or cult-like behavior, right? You can't project energy out of your body. You're not going to knock somebody out with your fucking mind. That shit isn't real. And we see it all over the world. It never stops. And then of course,
so wild.
Yeah, man. And like you see it in every culture. Like sometimes people will call it the Holy Spirit, right? They're like, oh, Holy Spirit ran through me. Like, no, it fucking didn't. You're just in a cult.
All right, guys, take a pause for a second. The upcoming portion of our podcast discusses the act of suicide completion. You may want to skip ahead.
In Indonesia, they call it tenaga dalam, which means inner power, or like ilmu laduni, or debus, which is self-mutilation without harm, which I've seen literal 8-year-old kids slit his throat and kill himself because he believed he had an inner power that he was taught by his instructors, not knowing that they're performing magic tricks, picked up a real sword, not the fake prop one, and killed himself because he thought he had this magic ability.
Oh my God.
Wow.
These are real issues. And then, the cult-like behavior you even see in jiu-jitsu with like the gauntlet. Like, I'm paying you to whip me? Fuck you. If you whip me, I'm getting to hit you back. Like, that's not self-defense. Does it make me better at jiu-jitsu? No.
Right.
Does it make me worse if I don't do it? No. So why do you do it? People are like, it's a rite of passage. No, jiu-jitsu itself is the rite of passage.
Yeah.
You whipping me is cult behavior, and in almost every cult ever, it's called flagellation. So that's culty shit. Or when the instructor tells you can't go train at another gym, which also you'll see a lot in Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools. Like, those are culty things, and so those are harmful. But those are the only rules I stick to. So if you look at any of my posts, the only thing that will ever deviate is if it's a street fight, and I find it funny, or if it's just a comedy skit. But those are the real things that I dig into, and I don't deviate because someone's bad at martial arts. I don't. I will go after somebody if they're claiming to be an instructor and they're teaching bullshit or they're teaching any of those things that will get students hurt.
Yeah. So have you ever had anybody reach out and like be like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, what do I do? What do you think I could do to make this better? Like, I want to change.
I have, which is really fucking cool. And
That's awesome.
because like I said, 9 times out of 10, I reach out to these people first, right? Unless it's like something harmful. Like, then I don't give a fuck what they have to say. Like, if they're beating on children or raping people, I don't care what their opinion is. But like, if it's a technique that's questionable, I'll reach out. And there was a guy who was like dropping a knife down onto somebody as a reactionary drill. And they were supposed to move their body out of the way, but it was a real knife.
Oh, fuck.
And so I was like, dude, I'd reached out first and he didn't respond. And so I was like, all right, well, fuck you. I'm posting it because that's super dangerous.
Yeah.
So immediately, of course, people in the comment section started to realize who it was. They reached out to him. And so he reached out to me and he was like, hey, man, like, I don't see the problem. I was like, that is the problem.
Wow.
I was like, if you slip, if they don't pay attention, if your hand falls and you stab them in the eye with that thing, not only could it harm them and blind them for life, but it could kill them. And he was like, well, this is something I did and blah, blah, blah. But after our conversation, I was like, look, man, I'll tell you what, you have your post up. It's literally a post from your page, which is another ironic thing when people get mad at me for posting their shit. It's like, so let me get this straight. You posted it yourself thinking this was good. I took it and I posted the same fucking video without altering it in any way. And all of a sudden now you're upset. Bitch, you posted it. Like, if you were that mad about the public seeing it, why did you post it in the first place? Right? So, like, I don't understand the people who get mad about that. But anyway, so he did wind up, like, seeing my point of view. He did wind up taking it down off of his page. So since he took it down, I took mine down too.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's great. So do you have a lot of people like sending you stuff to like dig into, or do you can find all this stuff on your own?
It's both. Like, martial arts itself is pretty much ruled by lineage. So because there's lineage in martial arts, it's not hard to find people. You just basically either backtrack or you look into who their students are. So like I never run out of content because most of these arts, they have instructors who had instructors who had instructors. And then, of course, they themselves have students who become instructors. So, and usually the turnover rate is about 5 years. So like I'm almost on my third turnover in certain martial arts styles.
Oh, wow.
So, you'll see instructors pop up about every 5 years in certain arts. And so, of course, like there's a constant flow of that. But people will send me stuff. Sometimes it'll be like something that I find just stupid. I'm like, okay, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just don't care. Like, I appreciate you sending it, which I always try to respond to everybody, even if it takes a while. And I'll never be rude to them. I'll just say, thank you. I appreciate you sending this if I have nothing else to do with it. And most of the time people send me regurgitated stuff. So I would have seen it 60 times, but I still say thank you. Because I do want them to reach out if they have a real issue. I do want them to care. Because I want them to know I care because I do.
Yeah.
But I'll have people send me stuff of a rival martial arts gym and they just don't like each other. And I'm like, oh, you got to do a video about this guy because of all these things. I was like, none of that is a problem. Like, you just don't like them. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I'm dealing with rapists and murderers and frauds and fucking cults, and you're over here because you don't like that they charge $50 more than you. Fucking cares?
Yeah, it's
like,
not one of the 5 rules.
Yeah, like they're not defrauding people, So, but yeah, like a lot of times the stuff I get sent though is serious issues. Like a lot of females will reach out because of rape. Or sexual abuse. Like I did a story about Zuma martial arts in Canada, and that guy, he was molesting women right on the mat. And so like in the middle of class. So when I did a story about Zuma, I called out some of the bullshit that they were doing publicly. Of course, they deleted a lot of that bullshit afterwards, and now they've tried to rebrand, but it's still owned by the same guy. It's still owned by this like molesty piece of shit.
So nothing's changed.
Or well, I mean, him not being there to teach has changed, and really the major issue was him. So, like, by him not being there, I think helps a lot.
Yeah.
So at least, the change is all that's necessary, because you have to remember there's collateral damage in all of this.
Yeah.
If you get a school shut down, how many employees were there? How many students no longer have a home? Like, solve the issue, and then we move forward. But there was a guy in New York, Robert LeClaire Sr. And Robert LeClaire Sr., he had sexually assaulted 2 underage girls. And he did this years ago. He had a child with the first one while she was underage. She wound up getting an abortion. He winds up getting her pregnant again. She comes to term, has the kid. And then he basically just like disowned the family. Like he doesn't claim the kid at all publicly. It's his kid.
Of course not.
He had to pay child support. It's his fucking kid. And then he did obviously got rid of the girl. Well, she was underage going to high school when she was having this kid. He winds up doing it again to another girl at 15 years old. She winds up getting her car at like 15, 16 years old. And then she's so proud of it, she winds up driving over to his home only to discover that he had another girlfriend there. And she was so heartbroken that she went to her parents and obviously turned him in for being a creepy old man who was like molesting her.
Wow.
And after this happens, he winds up having 6 martial arts academies in New York. Still, even though he's convicted sex offender.
Wow.
And then so his son winds up being brought up on multiple charges. Tyler LeClaire winds up being brought up on multiple charges of sex offense to minors, like real young.
Oh, my God.
I think 42 counts, if I remember correctly, which is a lot. So then I start going to look into that story, and I find out about his father being molesting those other women. And come to find out, not only that, but he has like a pretty decent rap sheet in terms of being a piece of shit human being. He assaulted one of his instructors, pled guilty to that. Like, he's not a good human being. So later year, like, I mean, I did that story. His schools pretty much immediately shut down after that. He rebranded. He's got a couple schools other places, and they consider me public enemy number 1. But good. I'm glad you hate me. Suck my balls. But anyway, when it comes to like,
where in New York are those gyms? Just
they're not there anymore.
Oh, they're not
they
there
shut
anymore.
down.
Okay.
Yeah, this story was this year. It was right a little bit before July. Well, July rolls around and there's a sport karate tournament called the US Open. And it's a big tournament. It's televised on ESPN2 every year. Well, he shows up to that tournament with his martial arts students, a team made up of nothing but teenage girls of the demographic in which he raped. His girlfriend is there, and I had to talk to the promoters. I was like, how the hell is this dude allowed even on this property? Luckily, the promoters kicked him out, and Disney kicked him off the property completely.
Wow. Nice.
So, like, I do have to run into these people from time to time, and, like, you know, later on, fucking weird, right? The U.S. Open goes on for a couple days. I'm sitting at the bar, and as I'm sitting at the bar, I'm trying to convince them to put the UFC on. Right. And I'm like, come on, you got to put the UFC on. It's tonight. So we're at a bar, and they're like, well, we're not allowed to show like fights at the Disney property. Finally, I get them convinced. I was able to sweet talk them, and they were like, well, we'll put it on until the manager tells us we have to shut it off. I was like, fuck yeah. So like, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, but I'm excited. So the 2 guys to my right, they're super pumped. They're like, yeah, we're high-fiving, having a good time. And I look over to the left, and there's a lady there who was sitting there with a tattoo of a rose on the side of her neck. And she's like a thicker Italian lady, not Italian, Puerto Rican. And so I look and I go, hey, they're going to play the fights. Like, I'm thinking everyone here is here for the tournament. We should all be excited we get to watch the fights. And she goes, I recognize you. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And then I go, what do you recognize me from? She goes, you're a YouTuber, aren't you? I go, yeah. And then I was like, is that because she had a weird look on her face. I was like, is that a bad thing? She goes, yes. And I was like, oh. What did I do? She goes, it was really wrong what you did to him. I was like, what I did to who? She was like, Robert LeClaire, the rapist, by the way. And I was like, you mean the rapist? And she was like, well, that was so long ago. I was like, yeah, because that kind of thing just goes away, right? You wash that rape right off. Like, and so like she was there, had her kid there with him, and is trying to defend him as a rapist. She's literally yelling at me in this bar that I had done him wrong. Like, me, motherfucker? You mean me saying that he did the thing that he did is bad, but him doing the thing isn't bad? Like, how is that logical? But there were parents had left their kids with him in his custody to come to Orlando to just be there. And he has a track record of this shit. It's insane.
Unbelievable. People are fucking crazy.
A lot of them.
It really is like, it is mind boggling.
I don't like people anyway. So this just,
So you've literally seen like all of the darkest corners of the martial arts world. I mean, you've talked a lot about how you just love martial arts. And I mean, obviously we do too. Otherwise we wouldn't be talking to you. But there's got to be times where you're like burnt out on all of the shit that you see.
Yeah, I had a moment like, you know, I had a couple back-to-back cases that really got to me pretty bad. And, you know, like I said, I can't win them all. So like I can try to inform the public, but the only thing that really makes this stuff work is if everybody comes together and they realize that a bad thing is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And, but if people turn a blind eye, there's nothing you could do about it. So like I had a case that really messed me up. So it was like a I don't know, I think it was 11 o'clock at night, and I'm winding down. Now, I know that the internet works 24 hours a day, but I don't.
Right.
So, like, end of my day comes around, and like a guy who does something similar to what I do in Indonesia, he sends me stuff often from Indonesia. And he sent me a video, and it was like one of those, like, you can only view like once kind of things. And so I was like, okay. He's like, you need to see this. And I was like, okay, I don't know what it is. But usually when he sends me stuff, it's like the funny, I can knock people out with my mind stuff. It was a gang rape.
Oh my God.
And,
Stop.
and it was probably one of the most horrific things I'd ever seen in my life. And I mean, it was pretty bad. Like, it was a passed out woman, a group of like 9 or 10 people all wearing the same martial arts shirt.
What
and they were,
the fuck?
and they were all just gang raping this woman on a counter in a kitchen. And they were literally putting like kitchen utensils inside of her and stuff. And it was some stuff that you can't erase from your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they were laughing and having a blast, and all I could just feel was like my blood boil. And I cried for a while, and I had a hard time dealing with that.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen something like that, it changes you.
Yeah.
So I tried to figure out what I could do, because with a story like that, there was nothing I could really show the public because of how bad it is. There's no, I mean, I even tried to find a frame where I could be like, you could see what's going on, but like there was no frame that was like going to make the internet. And so I was like, well, maybe if I go to my Instagram stories, since they are removed in 24 hours, maybe I can find a way to piece it together by finding it that way. And so I did. And somebody who follows me actually wound up like finding out where this kid was. He was in, I think it was Bali. And so he actually saw the kid outside of an ice cream parlor, and he confronted him. And it was a 16-year-old kid who was a part of this rape. And he was the main culprit in a lot of the really bad stuff in the video, which is why he stood out. And his face is just laughing the whole time like a piece of shit. So so this follower of mine sees him outside of an ice cream parlor in Bali and puts a camera in his face. He was like, I saw the video. I saw what you did. He was like, you need to admit it. And the kid was scared, and he admitted it. He admitted to it being a full-blown rape.
Wow.
He admits it twice. He admits it twice in the video, and I'm thinking, damn, I got him dead to rights now. Well, that footage winds up going to the police, and his mother had contacted me when I started going after this kid. And his mother was like, he's never done anything wrong. He's a good kid.
God.
And I was like, you clearly did not see this video that I saw. And I was like, I can't send this video over to this lady.
Right.
Obviously, that's pornography.
Right.
And if I wind up sending that over, I could lose my account. But I was like, if you saw this video, you would know exactly why this is horrific.
Yeah.
And so she winds up going, and like at that time, there were some people like kind of keeping an eye on him, and her and him wind up going into the police station, and they both walked right out. And I found out that apparently the police over there are extremely corrupt, and she was very financially well-to-do.
Oh.
And so most likely she had just lied.
Yes.
And so that really hurt. And then right after that, I had seen the kid like slit his throat and kill himself, who was only like 8. And then I saw a video of like a group of like 16-year-olds that was also in Indonesia, but they got run over in a public martial arts demonstration. And the trick is the truck is supposed to just run over all these kids. Well, the platform was a little high, and the truck kind of slammed down on the first kid. And when it ran over the second kid, it's supposed to just be like the inertia. If you just continue to go forward, it doesn't really crush them. But the car stalls on the second kid, and it takes them a second to start the car again. And by the time, the third kid was smart, he just ducked out of the way, but then it ran over the other 5 kids with no problem.
Oh my God.
But the first 2 kids, the first one, it took them forever to wake them up. And the second kid, I'm pretty positive, died. And this was in a group of thousands of people watching this demonstration. And not one of them was like, this is probably not a good idea, And so after seeing like all of that and having to continuously deal with like rape, fraud, pedophilia, fraud, murder, and like it just made me like numb. And I was
Yeah.
like, every time I walked into a school to train at that point, I was like, I just can't be here because all I can see is the negatives.
Yeah.
Like I don't see anything positive in what's going on here. And so I took about 2 years from training off. I was just like, I can't be here. I need to get my head straight. And then I wind up going to therapy for about a year to try to get my head straight. And then it helped. I learned a lot about what I needed to work on as a human being, but also cope with the things that I had seen.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was good. But I needed that time. And like, I started looking into researching people who work in like special victims units and people who do deal with like seeing horrific things on a daily basis. And like, I started to notice like they have like mandatory time off and they have like mandatory shifts in how much they're supposed to be exposed to shit. And I was like, I've been doing this at that time for fucking, I don't know, 9 years straight.
Yeah.
And I had not taken a day off. I had not taken a break. Every day I had posted, every day I had answered, every day. Wow. Saturday, Sunday, never taken a holiday off. And I was like, man, I just need to step away. Like this, I'm not going to be effective if I don't take time to get my shit right. And so I did. And then after that, everything's been really good. I just learned that sometimes if I get to a situation or if I do a story about something that bad, that afterwards, I just need to take a little time off.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So who inspires you today? Why are you still in martial arts? Who's doing it right? What brings you from the place that you just came from back to like, okay, I can do this. I love this. I need to be here.
I mean, it's the little people, man. It's like when you walk into like, I love to like what I call pickup games, right? If I'm traveling, I'll just type in martial arts into Google and whatever's closest to me, that's what I go.
Nice.
And I love seeing martial arts instructors who just give a shit. They care. They're having fun. Their students are happy. That inspires the hell out of me. You also see people with longevity in the industry. You see people like Jean-Jacques Machado, right? Like he's been great, to my knowledge. Or like you see people like Dan Inosanto. Dan Inosanto has been in the martial arts for fucking ever. He's like 175 years old, and he still trains. He still trains. He still loves it. Like he still has humility. Like he's impacted our martial arts industry in such a way that he belongs on like a Mount Rushmore of martial arts. And like see people like that, that's inspiring shit because you can make an effect and an impact on people. And the only thing you really need to do to make that impact is to just give a fuck. If you just care, that's the only standard to change people's lives is to just care. And if you do that, it makes the world better. Now, the hard part is getting more people to care. And then maybe we actually make an impact.
And you're doing that, I think.
Like truly though. I mean, I love what you're doing because it is important. And I think like, especially from a woman who started training in her adulthood, like me and Jen have both been through some shit. We like talked about it on here a little bit. But I think that what you're doing in these communities by like making them a safer space for women, because there are so many women who get into jiu-jitsu because they have a history of abuse or sexual assault or whatever. They want to learn to defend themselves. But a big thing that keeps people away is that it's fucking scary to walk into a male-dominated environment, especially like you said, there's not regulations in place to keep us safe. So we do have to be really diligent about, where we're going, what positions we're putting ourselves in. So the fact that like you're out there fucking doing it for, I mean, not only the women, but the women especially appreciate it. But like holding people accountable and, making people see these red flags and just overall making the community better and safer. Like, you're doing the damn thing, dude. And we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And I don't want anybody to be under any misunderstanding. Like I'm just a person. Right? Like I don't put myself on a pedestal. I drink too much. I smoke fucking weed. Like I go out and party when I can. Like I'm not a fucking saint. Right. But I don't think that you have to be. Like I'm not a saint. All of us are flawed human beings and everyone's gonna fuck up and everyone's gonna make mistakes. And you were talking about cancel culture earlier, right? Like I don't think somebody's entire life and career should be dictated by an opinion. I do, on the other hand, think that our actions will have direct consequences. And I think that if you are breaking the law, that there are definitely defined rules in place that you're going to have to pay the piper.
Yeah.
I think if someone says some shit you don't like, how you respond to that is going to be the thing that's going to make or break you in your career. And most people, whenever they get called out for something that they said that one person didn't like, the way that they respond is usually what's going to wind up making them either be subject to the public's opinion or not.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people make little stupid mistakes and then rather just go, fuck you. It's that simple. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to act how I want. This is who I am as a human being. Doesn't matter. But the moment people apologize for things that are not that you shouldn't apologize for, that's the moment when everybody jumps on them because they've admitted fault. And like, if you make a mistake that warrants an apology, you should apologize. You should do it sincerely, and you should be unequivocal about the way that you address the public. You should do it quick. Hey, I did this. This is 100% fact. These are the details behind it. I'm moving on with life. Right? Look at Dana White.
Yeah.
Dana White slapped the dog shit, beat his wife, like in front of people in a nightclub.
Yes.
Why is he not canceled? Because of how he handled it. That was it. That was what did he do the right thing? Fuck no. He made a mistake. He did a terrible thing. What he did was when someone asked him if he was going to resign, he just said no, and then he just moved on with life. Right?
Yeah.
He didn't harp on it. He didn't preach on it. Now that was a shitty thing to do, and that's a terrible thing to do to your significant other. Right?
Yeah.
He's going to have to pay that in legal fees. He's going to have to pay that in alimony. He's going to have to pay for that quite a bit, you know. And if she decided to press charges, she would definitely get his ass thrown in jail.
Right.
Hard to get paid if he's in jail, but still, you know. But at the end of the day, like I think that if you really want to avoid the cancel culture shit, if someone has an opinion about you, just say that. Be like, no, that's that dude's fucking opinion.
Yeah.
He can have his opinion. Who gives a shit?
Agreed. Oh my goodness.
You got like so many great things to say and share, and I love that. I know. We do like to close out our episodes with some rapid fire questions. If you are down for that.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll do some
fucking
jujitsu,
go.
some not, but we'll see. Sometimes Jen thinks that I ask too hard of questions.
No, I think it's funny that everybody gets tripped up on the exact
There's
same
this
one.
one question. I'm just going to ask you at
Do
first.
it.
What's your spirit animal?
Oh, dude, that's easy. I'm a fucking.
Thank you, Rob. People
That
are
is-
like, have responded like, what?
I am.
Tell
I
me.
am very much a lion all day.
I love it. See, it's not
You're
crazy.
the first.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that question. So easily, too.
Rob's a real guy.
How about gi or no gi?
I like both, but for different reasons.
Okay.
So I think gi is great to learn defense. So like,
Yeah.
because everything has so much friction, right? So getting grips is much easier. Getting your arm out of things is so much harder. Getting out of positions is so much harder. But solidifying positions is actually easier because you have so many handles and grips and friction, right? But I think no-gi teaches you how to be really good at being aggressive and how to lock in technique. Because if your technique is not perfect in no-gi and they're wet and slippery, they're going to slide right out. So your technique has to be so good that you have them dead to right. So I think both for different reasons. Also, probably a weird opinion, but I also find that gi is a lot more handy for self-defense than people make it out to be, because most people aren't getting into fist fights on the beach in the middle of December.
Right,
You're
100%.
going to be wearing a jacket or a hoodie, and I'm going to use that shit to choke you. So
Yes.
Right? It's like the Cholo MMA page, how they choke each other with their flannels.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that
it's
so much. Those
very
guys are
realistic, though. Like,
It's so true.
awesome. Love those guys. They're so cool.
they're
They're
hilarious. They're so funny. We love them. What's your favorite submission?
Go-Go Plata.
Woo!
But that's because it's such a weird one. It's like, it's not like, I'm not going to get it every time, and it's going to be rare when I get it. But when I do, it's like, I got it. So like,
Yeah.
I do love that one.
What's your go-to drink order?
Bacardi Coke. But if I'm in a place I've never been, I'll ask the bartender, and it'll be like, what is your favorite drink? And I'll just drink that.
Awesome. Indica or sativa?
Oh.
I like both because I can't tell the fucking difference.
Same.
Okay.
Like when I smoke it, they both do the exact same thing to me.
What do they do to you?
It make me want to eat fucking Doritos and watch shitty comedy.
Doritos are my
like
favorite.
Watch like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh my gosh.
It's Golden Girls for me.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
so good. Or if you get really high, there's an old movie from the 1980s called Heavy Metal. It's like a cartoon movie, but it's so good.
That's hilarious.
I can't. Okay, I'll try to check it out. I'll forget.
So, do you like training after you smoke, or do you need to like just go chill and watch
I only
movies?
tried it once. I tried it once.
Serious?
I tried it once and I didn't like it because, like, for one, I only started smoking weed when I was like 33,
Same.
and because up to that point, every time I had smoked weed, I did it to like at a party, and I smoked too much.
Yes.
I didn't know my limit, and I was like, well, this sucks. I just have heart palpitations, and I think there's somebody in the closet trying to get me. Like,
Bob,
that's
you
not fun.
Spirit animal.
So I was like, I just can't do it, right? And then I started getting like, residuals from like a life of fighting. Like my knees started to hurt and my back, and I'm like, I'm getting old. And so like after training, I was like, dude, I got to do something to manage this pain.
Yeah.
And so I had pain pills before, and then I had tried a Loratab, and I was like, almost as soon as the Loratab started wearing off, I wanted another one, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Not going to do that, because I had seen what it had done to so many people over the years. Like, it'll fucking ruin your life.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to do something else. So I was like, what is there? And the chick I was with at the time was like, why don't you try weed? And I was like, well, I didn't like it. And she was like, well, that's because you're doing it too much. Like, ease into it and let it sit.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I learned, like, oh, well, I actually do enjoy the feeling. It does take the pain away. Makes me want to eat everything in the fridge, but still, it worked. And so I tried it finally after years. I went to High Rollers in Las Vegas, which I don't think is there anymore.
That's sad.
But when you go to High Rollers, there were literally people during their events that would just sit there, like 4 people sitting at a conference table rolling joints.
That's amazing. That's a dream.
All night
I would
long.
do that competition.
Oh, it's awesome. And then like they have like an open mat that's there 24 hours. So even when they have like events like in their cage, you could just roll. So like it'd be like a UFC event, and you'd be like, oh, I just want to like train. They'd be like, oh yeah, just go over there to the open mat. And I'm like, all right, cool. So
That's so fun.
That's the
I was like, I never tried weed before training. So I was like, this is the perfect place. I got to do this here. So, I hit the joint, and I went in there, and I took a hit. I rolled, and then I was like, all right, well, let's do this as an experiment. Let me sober up. Let me take 2 hits and then roll again, and let me get real high and then see what happens. And like, my mind was on everything but jujitsu.
Really?
I was thinking about I could not focus. Like, I would get caught in stupid shit, and I'd be like, oh well. And then I'd like get swept, and I'm like, oh well, I probably should have done something about that. But like, I just don't care. I was just high.
So funny.
That's me without weed doing jujitsu. It's horrible.
So we have what we call our safety meetings, where we meet in the parking lot before class, and we get prepared for class.
All cool kids. Everyone knows we're coming.
Yep. And then we walk in the door, and they're like, oh, the safe people are here.
Super safe.
That's funny. Yeah, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, some people swear by it, like Jeff Glover. Jeff Glover swears by it. Like, he says it makes them more creative, like, and I can see that. Like, but for me, it's just not for me.
Yeah,
like, if I'm
that would
smoking
be
weed,
horrible.
I need to just do nothing.
That's
Yeah.
a bummer.
That'd be a hard pass for me if I were in your shoes too. I'd be like, fuck this. No.
Yeah, I was like enjoying being high, and then you submitted me like 70 times.
Like,
and now it's
really
just
killed
there.
the buzz. Really killed the buzz. All right, just a couple more questions. You get a one-way ticket to anywhere in the world. Where are you going?
The island of Capri.
Oh,
It's outside of Greece. It's beautiful. Like, I went there during a high school trip. I was there for like 2 days, and it's probably one of the most beautiful places I'd ever been to. They have like a blue coral. It's one of the only places in the world that has blue coral.
Oh my God.
The water is super clean. So you can like see all the way down in the ocean. You can just look down, and it's clear. You can, like, the people are so friendly. Everyone there speaks English very fluently, along with several other languages. A lot of like really well-to-do, like movie stars will have houses out there, and it's just like this quiet, cool, laid back, you can enjoy yourself kind of place. It's my kind of shit.
Oh man, that sounds rad.
It really does. Shit, we're coming with.
I'm a huge traveler, so I'm like, well, let's add that to the list.
Oh yeah.
If you had a tournament, what would your post-tournament meal be?
Usually my like post-tournament meal is like fucking steak. I mean,
Yes.
when I was competing, when I was younger, I started competing a month after I started training. So back then it was like sport karate, boxing, and kickboxing. And for the tournament circuit that I went through, you had to maintain weight the entire year.
Yeah.
So like that was fairly difficult, and like the year went from like end to end. So it started in January, went to December, only like a month off, and you're right back at it at the end of January again. And I was there for 2 years competing with that on that circuit. And so at the time, I'm 6'1", and I was 155 pounds. And so I was really skinny when I was tall for that bracket. So maintaining that for 2 years sucked. But after I was done with like a tournament or whatever, I definitely had like a hefty meal. And it was usually like a steak.
Nice. That sounds so good right now.
That does sound so good right now.
If you had a super fight today, what would your walkout song be?
Oh, I used to walk out to If You Want Blood by AC/DC.
Nice.
I used to walk out to that, but if I had to fight now, I did make a song called McDojo Life, and like I'd probably walk out to my own song.
Yeah.
But me and the guy who made that song, we've been wanting to link up to make another one, and I've been like trying slowly but surely. We have a Christmas song coming out, not with him, but with somebody else. I cannot wait for this song to drop. We've been working on it for an entire year, and it's about Santa Claus giving out oil checks and not coal.
Oh my gosh.
So like,
where can we find this? When is this happening?
So that should be dropping. The guy's name is Obscure Vinyl. And so that's not the song that we made McDojo Life. That was me and a guy named Uziman. It's a reggae song.
Oh my gosh.
But we did a full music video for McDojo Life. And that's on YouTube. It's just McDojo Life song. If you look that up, you can't miss it.
So cool.
We're going to watch it right after this.
But the oil check song is going to be coming out around Christmas time. And I really want to do a music video for it again, like the other one. But I'm also working on like 4 other songs. And one of them is a walkout song that is a song about being a walkout song. So like,
jeez. Dude, so like, I feel like, man, I have so many more questions, but holy shit, I could sit here all day chatting with you.
I'm like, let's just keep doing.
There's like some stuff we haven't even got into, so we will have to chat again sometime because I know that you also are working on a book, right?
Yeah, I wrote a book last year actually. It's about my so when I was younger, I started fighting in a nightclub bar called Plush Nightclub, and I started fighting there when I was 15 years old. And the only reason I was allowed to fight in there was because my instructor was a promoter, and it was called patron boxing. And patron boxing is illegal now, but patron boxing is you just pull people out of the audience to fight. And so I wound up fighting there from the time I was 15 until I was like 22, 23.
Oh my God,
and,
that's a long run.
Yeah, and I loved it. I did a 2-on-2 fight there. They had 1-on-3 fights. They had Thunderdome rules, which was like 1 round, but it doesn't end until someone gets knocked out or quits.
Oh my God.
You know, it was a rowdy place. I saw my instructor set himself on fire there.
Jesus.
And in my book, there's photos that go along with every story, so that way you know that these are factual stories.
Yes.
There was a photo of my instructor as a like 20-foot flame after he set himself on fire there. It was not on purpose. It was very much an accident. He was seriously hurt.
Oh my God.
Then, my first girlfriend, when I broke up with her, she like attacked me with a knife. So like I have a story about that.
Oh my gosh.
And so like it's basically just my life as a teenager and all the things that I went through while fighting in this nightclub.
Dude,
what is it called?
It's called Sensei's Bars and Scars.
Sensei's. Oh, that's catchy. I like it.
Where can you get it? Where can we get that?
You can get it pretty much anywhere books are sold, but Amazon is the big one. And if anybody actually does get the book and you enjoy it, leaving a review is appreciated.
Awesome.
My goal is to write like maybe 2 or 3 more books. But then I have so many stories about just being running McDojo Life. So I have some amazing ones. But you know, the book itself is just about that portion of my life and my instructor's relationship and my relationship with them and my girlfriend at the time and trying to get through high school and all that shit.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think that you definitely have enough going on to write several more books.
Several.
I mean, 13 plus years doing McDojo Life. You got a book, you got a documentary you're working on. You just moved to LA.
Yes.
Dude, like, you got the most going on and we love it for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hopefully one day it'll actually pay.
Right?
Yeah, right.
It's coming. I can feel it.
The last question we always ask everybody is, if your best friend had to describe you in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Let's see. That one I actually have to think about because I know exactly who I'm thinking of and I know like what he would say, not what I would say.
Oh, we want to know what he
Yeah,
would
we
say.
want to know what he would say.
He would say cold. He would say like physically cold. He would say because of the joke we have. He called me a douche, and then he probably say I was hungry.
A cold, hungry douche. That's going to be the title of this episode.
Cold Hungry Douche is a good name for a new book.
McDojo Life with the cold, hungry douche.
Oh, Cold Hungry Douche.
Amazing. So thank you so much for taking time to hang out with us and for, keeping martial arts accountable. Where can people find you? If you want to plug all your stuff, we will spread the word.
Well, thank you. So you can, again, Sensei's Bars and Scars, you can get on Amazon. Like I said, if you like the book, please leave a review. It's appreciated. I have McDojoLife.com. I've been working on trying to continue to grow that. There's actually a registry on McDojoLife.com of previous offenders in the martial arts industry.
Awesome.
So I've been working on trying to grow that, and all my content's on there, but also YouTube. So many people see my stuff on Instagram, which is McDojo Life on all social medias, except for Reddit, because there's some douche who actually started a McDojo Life and was like basically posing as me, and I had to call him out. And now, like, I basically just gonna have to figure out a way to legally go after him because he's like completely posing as me. And I'm like, oh, so on Reddit, it's the McDojo Life, not McDojo Life, but you can see my logo, so that helps.
Nice. Epic.
But yeah, definitely check out the YouTube if you want to learn about these crazy ass people I cover.
Sick. Yeah, and I actually currently have your YouTube pulled up because we're about to watch the official music video of McDojo Life.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys. I love talking shop, so anytime.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Have
you
a great
take
day.
care.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram at chokeholdsandchillpod or shoot us a message at chokeholdsandchillpod@gmail.com.